Oh, I don't know why we're not broadcasting. I got people, I got everything's on, but I'm not putting out a signal. Goddamn piece of that crap from T-Mobile. It won't let me on today. Mm, I don't know. I don't know. We're 17. I don't know. Hello? Uh, looks like I'm frozen up. Hello? It's circling. The little wheel's going. Oh, hello. There we go. It was. Uh-huh. Now we're on the air. There we go. Uh-huh. It was. Uh-huh. Now we're on the air. Okay. All right. We'll leave it right there. Oh, my T-Mobile wasn't working. Well, we'll see if any. I see somebody's in here. Who's going to be the first to join Old Mac?
Don't make me get mad. T-Mobile, you're starting to piss me off.
Well, I just have to suck it up. I just have to suck it up.
Uh, might be going through the change of life. When you get almost 85, I've never been this old before, so I don't know. All right. I don't know if it's working now or not. Let me look over here. Uh, Let me look at this piece of crap over here. Uh-huh. Uh-huh. Oh, yeah, it's still working. There's nobody here. Uh-huh. Playing the hard to get, huh? Well, oh well. Mama said there would be days like this.
Well, here it is, hump day already, and I I don't know if yeah, I did see a while ago Ray Gregory. He has Ray Gregory rides on. Maybe uh, you might go over and catch his video this morning. He's always got an entertaining video. His rides are always informative. He tells us a little story occasionally um, about his youth. And I bet you he was a handful when he was young. Hello, 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 hello. Well, can anybody hear me? Maybe this might be too early. It might be just too early to hear. Ah, there is chasing ghosts. Can you hear me okay, Tara? My T-Mobile is being very uncooperative. It wouldn't let me on. I tried from before 4 o'clock in the morning here. Oh, good. Okay. I tried all the way from before 4 o'clock, tried to get on, and it would not let me on. And then it it was acting really weird, wall to wall and treetop tall. Well, you get a big welcome, welcome, Miss Tara, to our coffee before coffee. No, this is coffee before call. Them boys over there, them Jersey boys, they have a they're a family over there. Them coffee guys, they're all out of Jersey. Hey, there's Dave. Oh, that's good. I'm making it all the way to Australia. Um, in fact, I believe you're the last person I even chatted with. I didn't chat with you. I was texting. I replied to some comment that you made, but um, we had a really nice ride yesterday. A good lunch, and you saw the video. So um, good God Almighty, chasing ghosts. You are you've already got a whole day planned out there. Okay, I'm having problems with I've got my phone over here to verify that I'm on the air, but there's a lag. I mean, it's terrible. We just don't have maybe when I get my fiber optic. See, there's a couple of seconds delay from the time I do something till it actually goes out. So I we're just trying to rush this. I I bought all the equipment so we could do podcast and live stuff like this. And unfortunately, I just don't have the internet. We have been trying. Excuse me. We've been trying to get on the air for where you could have live broadcasts for a long time, many years. I even bought a channel, paid $89 a month to have a channel dedicated through some kind of a service dedicated to my raccoons out there. They had their own camera and everything. And it was so unstable. Finally, the company told me, said they could not maintain my channel because it was bad. Let me see. Let me try.
I will give you a little bit of my inner ego. You walk into a Harley shop and they look at you and they can tell you ain't got no money. I mean, them people, they're good at that. They won't even come talk to you. They just wander around over there. And I'm hoping they would come over and give me a little service. But they know I don't have any money. I mean, I might have coffee money, but they're wanting chump change serious.
Oh, that's nice, Tara. That's um. I don't know what they offer down here. I go to a little shop out here in the woods, and them boys treats me. It's like going to Bates Hotel, and they have like a Bates Hotel theme over there. Yeah, Bates Hotel. Yeah. Is his name? His last name is Bates, and of course it's Bates HD Sales. And Dwayne is just about one of the best human beings. He just he's down to earth country boy. I mean, they'll come out and do something for you. I mean, if you if they can do it right there on the spot, they will. They don't. Well, we can get you in 6 weeks, and it's going to be $2,000 just walking in the door. It is, and he gets old school crowd. That's the reason I hang out over there, and they treat me really good, like family. I don't. I'm not trying to put no promotion out for them because I don't even think they ever watch my channel or nothing. But um, they just, "Can I get you a coffee? Hey, the TV is up here. Here's remote control." But they're busy. They're working all the time. If you need like a clutch adjusted, or if you need, they'll send a boy over there and they'll do it right now on the spot, right there in the parking lot. Just to get you going, or if you got a tail light out. I got to change a bulb tomorrow. Today, I'm going to do it today. My left turn signal. When I did a walk around yesterday, I realized my left turn signal's out. And so I gotta pop that cover off and get the bulb out today, and I'll just go over and buy the bulb at the parts place and be done with it. Tara brings back such good memories of being out on the road, and we uh, we enjoyed that life. I ain't kidding you. It was just the right life for me. Look here, Dave. Can you see my earmuff there? Let me bring the light around over here. Look at the look on the side of my earmuff there. I might have to bring the camera over a little bit closer. There you go. Frogzilla. Today's show is sponsored by Frogzilla. And there's the Rocket Queen in there. Rocket Queen. Rocket Queen.
She, I bet you, as a lady, she could arm wrestle. Hmm. I bet you that some little young heifer walk up there and they go, I can whoop anybody in the bar arm wrestling. Little old 98-pound blonde girl. It's always the blonde girl. And the Rocket Queen says, "Come here, sister. Put that tiny, delicate little hand right here. I'll show you what it's like."
Did I do good there, Rocket Queen? Oh, no, no. What's going on, Rocket Queen? Oh, is it the fires? Fires over in Oklahoma? Oh, my God. I'm sorry to hear that. Hope you're going to be all right. Yeah, I did see there's some fires over there. Oh, yeah. Boy, you get those fires going over there. I was over there. I had a son that got married just north of Lawton, Oklahoma, and I was over there for his wedding. And boy, I'm gonna tell you, um, there was a big wildfire out there um, somewhere in that area. Oh my gosh, the air was just full of smoke, and it was pretty scary looking. Oh my gosh, our prayers are with you there. Oh, Chase and Go, she's got some history in Oklahoma. I do too. Been over there. I married a woman from Tahlequah, Oklahoma. She was a Native American, and we had a couple of kids together. She's no longer with us. One time I was going to go to work in Vian, Oklahoma. I think it was the 10 Killer Dam, or there was a three rivers being dammed up. I think it was 10 Killer. It was a dam over there, and I was in heavy construction. And I was I was going to go to work driving a Caterpillar tractor, my brother and I, and we never made it. We uh, make some big money. And Well, I've lived a long time. I have lived in a lot of places too. Cause I gotta, you gotta keep in mind they used to pay me money to go traveling to all kinds of places, and some of the places were little towns that nobody ever heard of, and they would call that base of operation. Back in the Cold War, they didn't put it in the newspaper where he was going. They would send us a courier, and the courier would give us a location of where we're going to go to set up a new base. They would set it up. I had nothing to do with that. Hey, we just go there. I did a lot of stuff in the Midwest, West, from Malmstrom Air Force Base all the way across to well across the Dakotas, Colorado, Missouri, Wyoming, Montana. This really sounds scary. I've been everywhere, man, but I can't do that rhythmic. When he starts naming off all the town he's been in, I talk too slow for that. I couldn't do it like he does it really fast, but I could show you on a map. We didn't even have GPS. Well, we when we got out to Lewistown, Montana, was the first time they introduced us to a new terminology called GPS. All of the missiles that we put in the ground was done with a sextant. You would line up to the North Star because we're north of the equator. You use the North Star. If you was below the equator, you would use the Southern Cross for a focal point, a reference point. Yeah, Stillwater, Oklahoma. I used to deliver electric motors from a company here in Alabama, Hayden, Alabama. The name of the company was Rotating Specialist, and then it became Louis Alice. And we'd haul electric motors. I used to go up to many places in Oklahoma. Um, what was the name of that place up there? Choctaw? No, no, it's way up close to Kansas up there. And Broken Arrow was it? It was some little town up there. I got almost up there to the delivery point, and they called me on the next tail and said, "Hey, you can't make the delivery in Oklahoma. You got to take it to Houston, Texas. They can't accept your delivery." I go, "Oh, okay." He said, "You got to be there in the morning at 7 o'clock." And then I'm 1 o'clock in the morning there near that little town in Oklahoma, and I got to be in Houston, Texas by 7 in the morning. I go, "It ain't gonna happen." So I told him I'm gonna get back there and get into sleeper, and you folks can figure out where this motor needs to go. And I went back there, and the next tail rang several times, but I didn't answer it. I waited till the sun started to come up because, see, I'm timed out. I'm in the sleeper, and I'm out of time in my book. So when I was back on the clock, I answered the next tail. They were madder than hell, and they said, "You don't have to go to Houston. They're going to accept the motor there in that little town in Oklahoma." I said, "Oh, good." I was only 12 miles away from that town. I I didn't play the game. They couldn't fire me. I mean, they could. See, I was retired, and, it wouldn't be like, "You better do what I say or I'll fire your ass." Well, if you did, I'd just go back into retirement, just have some fun. I was only truck driving for the fun of it. West of Tulsa. In the '70s, we used to travel a lot there. Um, oh, so many times. A lot of things going on in Oklahoma. There was back then. One of the most interesting places I lived in was Longview, Texas. And our service area, the stuff we was doing was in Waco, Kilgore, and Tyler, and Longview. My little town I live in don't even exist anymore. They lost the post office, and my post office is 16 miles away from where I live. Yeah, right after we moved here, the little township, they lost their mayor. They have some kind of a conflict, and they ousted the mayor. And then pretty soon the post office went away, and then the general store closed down, and now we just got a little chicken factory over there that they produce laying eggs. They ship laying eggs, hatching eggs that's been fertilized and they're ready to go. These 18 wheelers come in, and they load all these eggs up and take them to these places where they hatch them. I have so many cables. When you see one that is not plugged in, you always start looking for a place to plug it in. Let me see if this will plug in right here. Ah, yeah. Now we don't have to worry about that thing. I just hate so many cables. I prefer not to have this many cables. Oh no. Oh no. There we go. It was hard getting on the air this morning. Like I say, nothing worked. I used to, when I was truck driving, I hated to go to Ohio. It was back in them days. 55 was the speed limit in Ohio, and we called it slow how because it would rat you up in a heartbeat. You'd be out there doing, I think the cars could do 70, but we could only do 55. And that always slowed us up. Hey, good morning there, Motorbum. I've been trying to get on the air since before 4 o'clock in the morning, but um, um, T-Mobile said, I don't think so. And then finally it let me get on the air, and I had several people up there, but nobody was responding, no comments. I go, odd that that many people up there on the board, but nobody is speaking. So I turned my phone on, and I was still just sitting there. Oh, you saw that? Okay. Um, I, I've got all the equipment, and I'm just waiting for technology to catch up with me. I'm ready to go, but unfortunately, I live in the woods, so we don't know when we're going to get our fiber optics, but it'd be most welcome when that day occurs. Did you see my? Did you see my today's show is sponsored by Frogzilla. Oh, let me do that right.
Today's show is sponsored by Frogzilla. You wanna get froggy? Hmm?
I know. I don't I mean, I don't know. All I can do is, turn it on and see how it goes.
It's really when you see, I can tell you, I could see that I was live on here, but I had a feeling it wasn't going out over there until I looked on the phone, and sure enough, I had to make 3 attempts. It was like I had to go back and restart again. It said restart, restart. It said live unavailable at this time. Restart, restart. Well, there was people there, and didn't want to let them down. So I thought, well, we'll just try another approach. And who knows? We have people that joins us in the morning. Dave, he was here a while ago. He might have went back to the show. And when I was on my phone over there, I see Ray Gregor's. He just put out his Hump Day ride. I didn't get a chance to see it. You're pretty limited what you can do on YouTube. You can't bring up any shows, or there might be a way. I got a feeling YouTube is going to start changing their system up. I got a feeling that they will add some more things because as this becomes more popular, probably going to see a lot of changes because StreamYard and OBS and all those other services there, they might be cutting into YouTube's revenue if they don't make some changes. It's all about the money. You saw Rocket Queen. She's her and her husband are sitting over at the service station. They had to flee their house. Fire is everywhere, and scary situation. We used to live in a world. Um, you wouldn't believe what it was like in the '70s during the Cold War. It was a like I Spy situation where we had government officials that would infiltrate us to make sure that we was keeping them tight lips. Loose lips would sink ships, and so you always had to be on your toes and be extra observant to keep yourself, without being caught up into a web. Hello, William Lowry. My gosh, it just does my heart good to see you in here this morning. It's been a while. I didn't get to make it to Locust Fork this year, William. Um, Jr. I should. I know you as Jr. So unless you prefer being William, I didn't make it to Locust Fork, but we've been spending a lot of time, as you can see, doing this kind of stuff, talking. Yeah, we used to. Yeah. I think the last time I talked to you, you just got a new girlfriend, or maybe you married your girlfriend. I can't remember. Maybe a new girlfriend. I don't remember. But I'm hoping that's going well for you. If you're like me, you like stability in your life. Even if you got an old, mean, grouchy woman sitting across the table from you, I like the fact that you can count on her being there every day across the table from you. Stability. I'm hoping the heart thing is getting better for you. A year. Well, if you survived a year, it looks like it's going to work out. Oh, she knows me. I'm hoping she knows me in a good way. Hoping she's like, "Oh no, not him." uh, I try to I try to treat everybody good, so they wouldn't have no reason to be angry at old Mac. Even as we divorced and went on our separate ways over the years, we had family, we had children together. There was no animosities like, you hated to run across her. One time I went to my daughter's wedding, and at the wedding, I had 3 wives there, 2 ex and 1 current at the wedding. You had to kinda walk around like on pins and needles, I'm telling you, making sure you said all the right things. Oh, from the radio? Oh, okay. Um, we had some good years on the radio. I put in 48 years from the time I got my license, I maintained the radio. When I went out in the field after after I got deployed out, I put in a, request to have my ham radio. So we had to bring it in, and because they gave us housing there, they gave us housing, and, so I got me a 10-meter big stick, and you was only allowed to put up, uh in those days, they, quartered you up in housing there. They had a set of rules that you had to go by, and in the '70s, TV antennas were common, so you could most of the places had a TV antenna. So I had a ham big stick, and, you had to get permission to do that because, well, you're working under a clearance situation, and you wouldn't wanna be getting on the radio and, "Oh, today up all aimed at Peking. Here's the frequency that we're coordinating these missiles with," No, they know that I would not be, doing that. General operator. Well, that's good. She has the whole world at her fingertips. I know when I got my general ticket, I was so happy. There was, I think it my sister, Joyce. There was a whole bunch of us. We had to go back in our days, we had to go to the FCC building. Like you guys had to go to Atlanta down here. We were in Seattle, so we had to go to the Seattle, Federal building. Matching radios. I've run across, one time I was talking to a guy named Bob Mack. Bob Mack lived in Ivanhoe, Minnesota, and we were on the airline traffic net, and he was an old pilot. And he told me one time, he said, "There's been a guy that's been trying to get a hold of you," and he could the signal didn't, it didn't just. We were at that time on 20 meters, and it wasn't making it to Alabama, but it was making it to Minnesota. I said, "Who is he?" And he said, "He's a guy you worked with at the company." And him and his wife, this couple, was childless. They didn't have any children, but they were at the company a total of 90 years between the two of them. 90 years at the company. That's all they had was the company. That was their life. I think he's probably passed on now, as a lot of them do. He was quite a bit older than me, but finally, we got him linked up and got with him on 20 meters. Oh man, he was as happy as a pig in mud, that he finally run across somebody out there that he actually knew. And then the oddest conversation one time, I was working 6 meters single sideband, working tropo during the tropo, the E season. I was talking and the guy came back to me and he said, "I think I know you." I said, "Where do you know me from?" He said, "Did you work at the company?" And I go, "Yeah." He said, "Was you at Auburn?" I go, "Yeah, I was. I was there for quite a while." And he said, and he told me who he was. I didn't recognize his call letter. Oh my gosh. Him and I worked together on that project. He was a machinist. Oh, he had a station, let me tell you. But he had this 50-foot long, 6 meter antenna, 50-foot long. It was like an irrigation pipe, and he had all these elements on it. And him and I, from my back porch out here, I had my radio station. I run my out there. It's so hot in the house. I went out there and we talked every afternoon on six, as long as the sporadic E held up. Sporadic E season is a beautiful period of time for VHF and UHF. I worked him on 432. I worked him and a guy named Hal. Hal had a dish on 432 70 centimeter, and from Alabama, I worked him on 70 centimeter, and we did it on EME, Earth, Moon, Earth. We coordinated together. We got us a call sequence going, and was able to make a two-way from Alabama to Federal Way, Washington, on 70 centimeters. That's a challenge. But you got to have the antennas, and you got to have the equipment, and you got to catch what we call a moon phase. You know, you I like. I like to work the moon when it's about 25 degrees above the horizon, and that would give you a good West Coast route. From here, I could easily work Europe on the moon, and I worked a lot of Scandinavian countries in the on EME from right here in Alabama, on 432. Up in Washington, operating at 432, you had the Doppler. Yeah, I mean, you had the aurora borealis, which would interfere when you're working, like say over to Russia or some of the up over the North Pole there. You'd always have the problem with the aurora borealis. Your signal would just go everywhere. And I don't know if you've ever worked sideband on the aurora or CW. If you ever work CW on aurora, it's got a instead of the nice clear didn't da, dit da, dit da, 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 dit da, it don't have that nice. It has a hissy sound, like the radio frequency is having a hissy fit. And it takes you have to have the ear muffs on and to be able to discern what the code to try to read the code when it's off the aurora. Oh, that's really nice. My biggest station, I had a I had a guy in Frenchtown, Montana, to guide me. What I done? Here's what happened. His name is Lance Collister, and he lives in Frenchtown, Montana. You can look him up. He had a 7 call, and I don't remember it now. It was like W7LJ or something like it. A very short call. In French Montana, his name is yeah. He he was one of the greatest EME guys that I ever knowed, and he had so many antennas. And he helped me set my system up where I had a bay of 4, 144. We used to operate on 144.150, and so in 4 long boom Yagis, 24-foot long bay, a bay of 70 centimeter antennas, but I had quite a bit of gain on them, tremendous amount of gain. And hello, brown chicken. We're just talking radio talk a little bit there. And I know to other people that don't understand or are not involved in that, it's probably a boring subject. Now, I was earlier shifting gears with Tara while she's out there driving the big rig. And we got Rocket Queen out there in fear of her life because of the fires that's in Oklahoma. I haven't talked with you for a while there, brown chicken. I'm hoping everything's going good for you. Poor Rocket Queen, that's gotta be a scary thing to get up out of your bed and have to flee your house because of the fire. Yeah, I worked, I had a really, good 70 centimeter station. Um, I one time I got laid off from the company, and I went to work for another electronic firm called Man Russell Electronics, and while I was there, I met this EME guy, and, he kinda took me under his wing, and he introduced me to Lance Collister out there in Frenchtown, Montana, and Lance sold his whole he had 14 long Yagis up. No, I'm sorry, 16 long Yagis, 16, on 144 megahertz, and so a friend of mine went out and bought the whole setup from Lance out there in Frenchtown, and I bought half of his setup. So I had 8 of his antennas, 8 of Lance Collister's antennas, and all of the in those days, we'd use, power dividers, instead of running a web of wires out there, we'd set up a power divider, and that ran really good, but when it got to 70 centimeter, I had to have Lance to build me, a power divider for 70 centimeter. He did, he made me a nice power divider and was able to run all of the antennas. Yeah, Cleveland, that's up there where she's at, where the fires are. They was over here close to where I live, there was like 6 or so of those tiny houses put up in a little complex, and they'd been there for, at least 10 years that I know. They're all have been torn down. I Something happened, the city would not permit them. There was some kind of a rule or something. They had land over there, but I think they had a problem with the septic system where they wasn't allowed to add all these little tiny houses onto the singular septic system, the sewer system. And I went by there and they've tore every one of them down now. Well, you hop in every time you get a chance there, chasing ghosts, just hop in with us and we'll always try to make room for you. Every time I get on the air, I really realize that I need a coffee pot in here, one of them single coffee cup. I love coffee. And I look up at the clock. I just heard the old clock a while ago. It's 5:30 now, a little bit after 5:30. Um, yeah, good hot cup of coffee would sure be nice.
When I don't have coffee, I start to get real, I can feel Satan coming out in me. I need coffee and I need it now.
But it doesn't seem to help very much. No matter what I want, I can I can want all I want, but I ain't gonna get it. I think there's a song, I know what I want, I know what I want, I wanna get what I want, and I want I don't know. I don't only thing I know is that'll wake you up. I don't sleep, very much, stayed up, I went to bed around 11:30, something like that. And my dog is not feeling well. Uh-oh. Uh-oh. Something happened on my phone over here. Let's see what's going on here. Oh. Oh, yeah, my phone's going, yeah, oh. Let me see if I'm live. It said there's yeah, looks like I'm still alive. Something just happened here. Something just I don't know. Oh, there we are. We're back. I'll tell you, anything could happen here where I live. I don't have any service. I think when we was kids, we used to string up a Campbell's tomato soup can with a string on it, and that was our form of communications. And today, at almost 85 years of age, I still have the same form of communication, just barely hanging on by a string. Oh man, go get you some rest, buddy. Uh, you remember the day you'll be out there doing a tattoo, and you remember the guy put on it instead of regrets, he put regerts on a big burly biker. You wouldn't want that to happen. Oh, brown chicken's got 3 to 7 inches of snow coming. Oh man. Well, it's been a long winter for a lot of folks. We haven't had no winter. We had a little cold snap, a couple of days, 3 or 4 days. So that means we're going to have a lot of bugs if it don't get. I look, they're going to be. I believe this Thursday night, it's going to go down to 27 degrees at night. That's pretty chilly. If you don't have a good winter, you can. Oh, we get ticks here. Ticks are. We have. I'm deep in the woods, so ticks are everywhere. And then dang stink bugs. Oh my gosh, they are everywhere. They don't seem to do any harm. I saw Theo one time. A stink bug came in when I came through the back door, and it landed. And Theo reached and grabbed and chomped down on it, and it spewed out that little odor, I guess. And buddy, he spit that thing out and started shaking his head, and he walked away from that thing. He circled it a couple of times, but he never did go pick it back up. Oh, I like 17 meters. That's a really good band. 17 meters. And now I never dabbled much on 12 meters. I had to give it a try, but I never did. I didn't have any, where I was using a tuner to get there. I didn't have a dedicated antenna system for 12 meter. 60 meters, we were on, when they started 60 meters out, they said they're going to start it at midnight on a certain day. The FCC gave us a notification that would be legal to transmit. And I had a good friend that lived in Mississippi. They're all deceased now over there, all of them, every one of them from that group. And he told me, he said, "Can you modify your radio to get to 60 meters?" And I said, "Sure." So I opened my Kenwood up. I had a 590 Kenwood. I opened it up, made the modification so I could go to 60 meters. And of course, it's channel dial, so you have to be precise on your frequency. Now, they came out with radios that had 60 meters built into it later, but in those days, so we waited to 1 minute after midnight because we wanted to make sure we're legally, because the FCC was known for setting up traps for you, to lead you into something and then write you a big ticket. And boy, me and him, his name is Larry, and Larry and I, we wore that band out. And then after we was on for about 2 or 3 weeks, other people started coming and joining us. And after a while, there was a fellow that came in from Kentucky, and he said, "Gentlemen, you're unauthorized to be on this frequency, running those power levels." I said, "What are you talking about?" He said, you're restricted to 50 watts, 50 watts, what was that term used? Effective radiative power, whatever, it was something. Some I said, We're well aware of that. I'm well within my limitations." He said, "No, sir." He said, "I'm looking at your signal, and you're 20 over 9 here in Kentucky, and on 6 meters at 50 watts, you would not be at that. So I'm estimating you're running 600 watts." I said, "You're crazy in hell." And then Larry came in and he said, "Oh my God, you're even worse than he is." He said, "You must be running 2,000 watts or more." And Larry, he had a short fuse, and he told the sucker, he's one of them channel masters, one of them low life and freaks that like to turn you into the FCC. And we battled with him for a little while. And then finally, Larry said, "Hell, I've got too many frequencies to worry about this crap to have somebody every time you go to talk want to come in and do the channel master crap." So him and I were both told the sucker, and I did not mince any words, and neither did Larry. And that guy went away. We went away. We left him to control other people. If he wants to be a channel master, he won't be doing it with us. So we moved on to we went see you got four, I think at the time, five frequencies we had. And so we picked another frequency. Oh, yeah. eh, When you're gonna be a channel master, you're gonna just that's all you're gonna ever do is be a channel master. My first encounter with the radio was in 1952, and my uncle was working at Hayes Aircraft Company, modifying B-29s, and they upgraded the radios. All the radios in the early B-29s were Collins radios, tube type Collins, and they broadcast at 2 megahertz. They were HF 2 megahertz radios. And so he brought me a battery pack down and he set me up, no microphone, just so I could receive. We set up a wire, 65-foot wire, 65, 75, somewhere like that, and put one leg of the wire down in the ground to a ground stake. And he told me to put a cup of salt water on that wire ever so often. And I did. And I used to listen to the B-36s that was flying then and Strategic Air Command, and I could hear them talking. And man, I tell you, I dialed them people in. I knew where all the different frequencies. You had a VFO that you variable frequency oscillator that you could turn to dial in the frequency. And man, I'd tune in them guys in them B-36s. They'd be way off somewhere flying through the sky, and I could hear them talking. That was such a great time. And I would burn the batteries out, and he'd make me up another battery pack. See, the radio operated on 24 volts, so, 24-volt power supply. So he'd made me up a 24-volt battery system so I could run it off battery. You could receive for a long time, you just couldn't transmit on it, not with a battery pack. Because that radio, I think at that time, was around 200 watts transmit power. Am I putting everybody to sleep? I can wake you up. Come on, get up here. Come on, get on here and talk to Old Mac. I had a hair hanging. While we was at the restaurant yesterday, Angelique found a long hair in her food, and it was a red hair. Now, at a Chinese restaurant, there's not a lot of red-headed Chinese people. Yeah, there you go. Oh, there's some pricks out there, JR. They just simply, they'd have nothing else. They have no life, and they wanna choose the radio to do their thing, and, that's just it makes it sad for everybody. That's one of the reasons you don't hear me on the radio due to the fact that it was, all about communicating and having fun. Excuse me, that was a but had a frog in my throat. Um, is to get on the radio and start doing the politics on the radio. Because when we took our license, that was one of the portions of the license. They talked about the areas to stay away from, and that's religion and politics, because it's going to touch off people, and it did. So I tried to avoid it. I spent 48 years without having to do that stuff. They wanted to do that, they could do that without me. I wasn't a part of it. Well, you've operated with me enough, JR, over the years on the radio that you know the way I operate it. To me, it's all about having some fun on the radio and meeting people, going to eating and greeting. A lot of eat and greet, meet up somewhere and go have a good dinner, a good lunch, talk radio, fun. Me and old Bobby Sanford, we used to go everywhere. He lived in Fayette. And we would go everywhere and meet up with ham operators in Columbus, Mississippi. We used to go over there to that catfish place in Columbus, Mississippi, and we'd eat on the river down there. We'd go outside, and there'd be 20 or 30 of us show up over there and have catfish on the river. I miss Bobby. He went way too young. Hey man, stay strong. Don't allow it to take over your repeater and ruin it. You're doing good there. It makes people mad, and you're like, "That's my right." Well, no, it ain't your right to make other people miserable. It's sure if you wanna get off the air and go talk politics, but when you get on the air, you're disrupting everybody with your political viewpoint. Nobody wants to hear it. If I wanted to hear that crap, I'd tune into TV. That's the reason my TV's off right now. I just got a better opportunity than a lot of people. Being born in a coal mining community in 1940, there was not a much of a future. Um, you was either gonna be a truck driver or working in the coal mine county and maybe work pulp wood, timber. Um, certainly didn't want to pick cotton, and there was some cotton picking going on back in those days, but the future is pretty bleak in 1940, and who would ever thought I would be able to, in my lifetime, talk to Stephen Hawking. Now, Stephen Hawking is just a name. You can look him up. He was a brilliant guy. Yeah. Can't put off eating too long because, in my case, I have a limited time. As you know, I ride my Harley everywhere. We went to dinner yesterday, rode the Harley up. We met some of the nicest people. Just really down to earth, nice people. They always like to come over. You're sitting on a track, they'll come over and want to talk to you, and then you got to raise your visor up and do all that stuff so you can be able to talk to them. Because we talk to one another through the headset. We can talk to one another through the headset. When I'm broadcasting, I do on my motorcycle. I do a motor blog, and so I'm busy talking on it. You have to reach and push a button on the Cena, to be able do a do a intercom thing. We logged up a lot of miles last year. We put 6,000 miles on the Harley, and this year we've got quite a few miles. Um, I checked the miles yesterday, and I was checking to see how much more time we got to go before time to change the oil again. Now I can't get down on the ground and change the oil. You got to change all three plugs under the bottom has to be changed out, and the filter. So I pay him over there at Aniana. That's I go over there at Bates HD sales over in Aniana, and he takes care of the service on my bike. Brown chicken, if you're still in here, what have you got planned up for today? Thomas Bailey, good morning. Well, I was up earlier the other day I started at 15 minutes to 3 and was off by 7 o'clock in the morning. I got in almost 4 hours early before the other crews started in. Oh yeah, we went over to Bates to change oil, I guess, that day or whatever. Yeah, one time I had a I had an exhaust leak in the engine. It was ticking. I had to go over and have 'em put new studs in my head because we'd tightened them up before, and it was just couldn't keep them tight. So now with the new studs in there, we don't have them loosening up now. So yeah, they do all the servicing over there for me, and that's up on the hill. How you doing today, Thomas? Yeah, I deal with Dwayne and his sons, but I've met quite a few of the family members. They treat you like family when you're there. They don't, they're just like family. Dwayne, he bought my John Deere tractor. I had a nice John Deere tractor, and he came over and bought one of my Harleys. And while he was buying my Harley, he saw that John Deere tractor over there, and he said, "Oh man, I like that one. I like that." Well, I said, "You can take it home with you." We discussed the money, and he reached in that pocket and got a good chunk of money out, and he took it. He took it with him. I helped him to load it. Oh, I think we're doing quite well, um, considering we're doing better than Rocket Queen. She's over there just terrorized. They got fires there in Cleveland, Oklahoma, and She and her were sitting over at the gas station for their lives, hoping that, this thing will get under control. They had to flee their house today. That was Rocket Queen. Yeah, the Oklahoma, there's been fire's been going on over there for quite a while. You know, you got all that sagebrush for miles and miles, and when it gets going, it just sweeps off, thousands of acres. And the winds, March traditionally is a very windy month, and you get a little bit of fire going and 70-mile-per-hour winds, 70 to 90-mile-per-hour winds, you're going to have a fire nader. I'm glad you guys are up here this morning, so we can get a chance to do some visiting. Yeah, she's in Cleveland, Oklahoma. Oklahoma is a place to be far from city living. I don't think it's Oklahoma. Yeah, I hope they get the fire under control over there because I hope they don't lose their home. Yeah, and Tara, she's out there in her big rig, or I think she was in her pickup the last time I talked to her. She's in and out. Oh, okay. I was reading Chasing Ghosts. She loaded up her stuff in the pickup truck that she couldn't carry, I guess, on the bike. JR, hope your health holds up. It looks like you got a bright future. Nice lady friend, and you've overcome some obstacles with your heart there. So haven't seen your son in many years either. You got a a son there that, my God, I couldn't believe how fast he was growing. He's probably no, he's a grown man now. It's been years since I've seen him. Ain't a little boy. They grow up so fast. Yeah, I got to. over the years, I got to do a lot of things, with a dismal start. Oh my god, he's a big old kid now. Yeah, that boy's grown up. Um, and what was really odd about the little school I went to in Jefferson County, um, two students in there, myself and a young lady. She had a career in aviation, and it just so happens the company that she was as closely associated with was the same one I got my retirement from. She retired out of Atlanta, and I, of course, I retired out of the Seattle area. And her and I, two little kids in the same little school, grew up, took separate paths, but spent a lifetime doing the thing that we love, which was airplanes and aviation, and didn't even know that each one was pursuing that line of work till I went to a school reunion. They published a book, and I bought a copy of it, and I saw her name, and then I contacted her, and then she let me know they was going to have a kind of a school reunion over at the park in Brookside, Alabama. So I attended, and she was just as pretty then, and I hadn't seen her in 70 years. That's a long time not to see somebody, but she was still a pretty lady. She is my first love from the first grade through the fifth grade. I couldn't think about nobody but her, but she never knew it because they were in a little bit different income bracket than I was. My daddy was a coal miner, and her relatives, they had a grocery store. So she was raised up in a store, and compared to us, we were coal mining kids. Now, everybody she knew was a coal mining kid. We all went together to school together, but they lived in a different set of circumstances. She was a graduate of the University of Alabama. Only there's not a whole lot of good things you can say about getting old. Probably the worst thing of getting old is um, the loss of friends, people that didn't make it. People you knowed all your life. Um, that's the negative part about getting older, and also the medical. When you're young, you don't even think about pain and suffering or nothing, and when you get older, that's all you think about is why are my hands so cramped up? Why is my hands so stiff? you know, that's something we wouldn't even thought about 50 years ago. But these hands changed a lot of engines, pulled a lot of chains, for run the chain hoist, and pulled a lot of torque wrenches, bolting down heads. I built a street rod in my garage from the ground up, labor of love. I was like Tim Allen, Tool Time. I was that guy that had to have a street rod, so the best way to get a street rod is build your own. We had quite a few street rods. I'm sure hoping the youngster in there wakes up and brings old Mac a cup of coffee because old Mac, he don't get coffee.
He will.
People get grouchy. You don't want to make old Mac grouchy, 'cause old Mac can get really grouchy. I've had years of practice. I know how to be grouchy.
Oh, you're gonna go get you some coffee. You're going to go uh, get your breakfast, Jr. I don't take my pills to 10 o'clock. I take mostly vitamins. Um, I was taking this, but the new guy in Washington D.C. he turned off. With this is prescriptions for diabetes, and the new guy canceled that program where they helped us with our medicine, and it went from $141 to $398. So I said, that won't be for me. Oh, yeah, that stuff is spendy. I just went back to glipizide, which is a whole lot less expensive, but glipizide has side effects for a diabetic. It it's not good on your kidneys, and when you are stage 4 kidney failure, you want to avoid anything that's going to disturb your kidneys. Yeah, glipizide. That's a one day, one application a day, and it sure beats metformin. Get them wild trots with the metformin. Well, I was stage 3 for a long time, and this last time when I went over there in January, she used the term stage 4, but I didn't question her. She might have meant still stage 3, but I don't ask a whole lot of questions because when I thought I heard her say stage 4, Angelique said she thought she said stage 3. And if that be the case, I haven't progressed any. I'm doing good. Well, we did have a break in it for diabetes. We got a cost reduction, and then when the executive order was signed, it eliminated that day, and so I went to fill it, and the Walgreens people said, "Oh no, you got to pay $398." I go, "No, hell, I ain't never paid no 398." They, "Well, you are now." I go, "Well, no, I ain't." "Oh, yes, you will." I don't think so, and I didn't. I done lived a good long life. I don't. You can't threaten with me. You can't. You can't threaten me with anything. Um, the glipizide has a side of it. If you've got perfectly healthy kidneys, there you could take glipizide. It doesn't give you kidney failure, but if you have um, kidney failure, it doesn't assist you with your kidney issues. It helps your kidneys to deteriorate. Yeah, you got a worse case, Jr. Than I do on the diabetes. I keep it pretty well under control. My A1C has been pretty steady. I do have neuropathy. The feet are always on fire. Lots of pain in the bones. Well, after I broke my leg, um, the leg never got a chance to heal up. My wife had 104-degree fever, so they said, "Bring her to the hospital now." Well, I loaded her up in my Mustang, and while I was lifting her up out of the wheelchair to put her in the Mustang, my leg that was broken, I still had a cast on my leg. It slid in the grass and put side pressure, and it bent the plate. I have two titanium plates on a boat. A boat broke both bones in the leg, so there's plates on each side with a lot of screws in there, and it shoved the screw. The head of the boat came out on my leg, out of my ankle, out of my foot, and so I had to go up there, back up there, and the surgeon was not very pleased because I'd only had surgery a week earlier, and I was supposed to stay off my foot. But what are you going to do when your wife is? Yeah, it was titanium. When my wife was sick, I had to take care of her, and I just slipped a little bit, and that's what bent the plate. But he straightened it all up, but it never healed up good. It's still very stiff, um, and it really gets bad sometimes. But I don't worry about it. I just mention about it, not trying to get any sympathy or nothing like that. I'm just saying that you got to take whatever hand is dealt to you. We're very fortunate. Yeah, the skin is real thin right there where it's at, and I can take my finger and I can run down and I can feel them under my skin. They're just right under the skin. But I think they did X-rays, and it looked like the bones are healing up good, but it just bent the plates over because I was being a dumbass. And somebody said, "How come you didn't call an ambulance?" Well, a person would die before an ambulance would come out here. They'd have to dispatch one out of Huntsville or Decatur or somewhere, and time they found us they'd have to stop 4 or 5 times and ask neighbors how to get into our place, and by this time it'd be too late. I got some big long screws, that long right there. They come up from the bottom up there where the ankle and everything come together. They come up under the bottom and go up into the bone on both sides, and then the plates are on the side, and then there's screws all the way through. There are a lot of them. It's an ugly looking. I used to have the X-rays here. Picture, they give you the when you ask for them, they'll print you out a copy of them. It's an ugly looking thing. Well, it's 15 after 6. I'll stay on. See, that's 15 after 7 over there on the East Coast. So I think I'll stay on to 6:30. Yeah, I'll stay on a little while longer because I don't think they don't start the coffee show until 8:30. But a lot of people probably be going over watching Ray's ride, Ray Gregory, his Hump Day ride. I always enjoy it. I always go watch them. I got a lot of people. I follow them. I watch their videos and I learn from them. I learn. They motoblog and every time they make a change in their system, if I can improve mine, I also change. Now I just changed my microphone over from a lavalier to the Purple Panda. Let me see. Oh man, that thing works good too. The Purple Panda with that dead cat on it, whatever they call that thing. Let me get that old microphone. All right, here we go. This is what I ran for years inside my helmet, the lavalier, and that really works good. However, I was getting a lot of wind noise, and that Purple Panda, it didn't have as much wind noise, uh, and I think it's that fuzzy thing that was on there that was making such uh, difference there. It takes all the wind out. If you've seen my last, well, you have surgical screws in your right arm, shoulder. Uh, yeah, I had a finger. I cut a finger off one time, and the guy he sewed my little finger on. We almost lost it, and he was a surgeon in the Korean War, and he saved my finger. Yeah, we cut it off, and see, I got dexterity. I can use it. Who'd want an old finger, just nothing but a stiff digit hanging onto your hand? If you can use it, and then it's worth keeping. No, I'm not on dialysis. No, I don't know how long and that's the reason it worried me when she said stage 4, and my daughter said she said stage 3, but um, I'll have to ask next time I go over there. I was blessed with really big kidneys. Um, One time they did an MRI, and they filled me full of radiation, and then they made everything glow. And he showed me my kidneys, how big my kidneys were. Um, diseased up kidneys. They was just I was just born with large kidneys. I can go 6 hours without going to the bathroom while I'm active. I I sleep all night long, and if I have to get up and go to the bathroom during the night, uh, I refer to that as something I done, drank too much coffee before going to bed or drank too much tea or something. Well, I'm glad, I saw Motorbomb, he showed up. Oh my gosh, that don't even sound good. Dialysis, ugh, but I guess it saves your life. Gotta do what you gotta do. We don't take too many extra steps in staying alive. I do take vitamins, and, I take them because anything to prevent cramps, if you have, if you're prone for cramping. I knew there was something wrong. My camera is way off over there. I don't I don't know how it got shoved way over there. I guess I was squirming around or something. Um, ah, Health issues, I'm so thankful. There's so many people that are so much worse off than we are, so I'm not gonna whine too much. It's not, it's not worth it to worry about stuff. Right now, I'm worried about getting a cup of coffee. I got a wild whisker right there. Yeah. Had one trying to stick up my nose there. I hate that. Well, I guess Tara, she's making her way down the road, and Rocket Queen, I'm hoping everything worked out good for her. It was sad to hear that she is having a distressing morning, her and her husband. We gotta do something to get this crowd happy. There we go. Well, today is going to be a laid back, take it easy day. Don't even know what I'm going to fix for dinner or lunch. We went out to lunch yesterday, and it was good. Oh yeah, she was praying this morning, so more prayers the better. But I made some really good pork chops the other day. Let me see if I can find a picture of my pork chops. I made some good. I hate cables, and I've got them now strung out everywhere. I I gotta get myself straightened up here. Let me see, boy, I can find, my pork chops. The breaded let me see. Come on, pick it up, camera. It just ain't gonna focus. Come on, you can do it. These cameras are something here we go. Now, those are, that's a breaded pork chop, a light breading on it, and those grilling beans, and that's macaroni salad. That's a good Southern meal for a country boy. That's what let me see. This is what I had yesterday for lunch. Oh, come on. There we go. There's yesterday's lunch. You can see those fried jalapeno peppers. There's some beef in there. A little bit of everything. Chinese. Yum, yum. Oh, motorbomb. Yeah, I had that in my video yesterday. The food picture of the Chinese, but the pork chop. I fixed this pork. I fixed a breaded pork chops and deep fried them, and they were so delicious. I mean, I used this breading, and I didn't use panko, and I made my own up, and I used this garlic jalapeno seasoning in the breading, and golly, the flavor was just so good. We eat a lot of peppers, and yesterday on those jalapenos you saw on my plate there, they was full of fire. I mean, on a jalapeno, it's a hit and miss. Sometimes your jalapeno can be really, really sweet, plump, and delicious, and other times it can have a little bit of attitude. And the ones yesterday was full of attitude, which I like. A motorbomb is my sound effects working today? Nobody has made any comments, so I don't know if they're working or not.
I don't know if they're working. Yeah, I got a little touch of hay fever, so you know, I don't know I don't know. I just tuned in again. I fall asleep. Let me know. I've got one on now. Let me know if it has echo.
They may not be working. You just never know. Yeah. Yeah. What would be a scary thing is you go, you're praying and you're on your prayer bones and you're trying to.
You're trying to get an answer on how come things are so hard on you. And you say, God, why are you being so hard on me? And he says, something about you just pisses me off.
You don't wanna make him mad. Uh, well, we'll stay on here for a little while, but then, I'll get off quick enough so that everybody can do their thing. I really am craving a cup of coffee. I'm hungry too this morning. I love to wake up with an appetite, hungry and ready to eat. And we had Virginia ham. She made me scrambled eggs, Virginia ham, and peach preserves, and a Mother Bee or Mary Bee, whatever biscuit, one of those frozen biscuits, Mary Bees, I think they are, cat head biscuit. Oh, and the hash brown. I really like real good hash browns. I go to out have breakfast. Um, I've eaten at a lot of Waffle Houses, and they traditionally have really on them and good hash browns. They used to have a hash brown there at the Waffle House that was it was a full meal deal where the hash browns had everything in it. Oh, look at you! You're a country boy, and you will survive. Why was you up so late last night? You said you was up at 2 o'clock in the morning with just doing your stuff on the radio on the computer here, or I think when we was eating at the Waffle House a lot, I was driving a truck and I'd find me a place where I could get parked, and instead of eating at the Flying J or over at the Love truck stop, if they had a Waffle House nearby, I'd prefer to go over to the Waffle House because you could have a breakfast there and watch a big fight and everything. It was always full of action. And here in Alabama, we have a place called the Huddle House, which is really good. I think Huddle House might be a little bit more expensive than and no fighting. At the Huddle House, there's no fighting, but, it's a really nice place, to eat. The food's always good. Yeah, when I had the colon cancer thing, and after I got pretty well survived over that, um, I asked the doctor, I said, "I've eaten peppers all my life and really like peppers. Am I gonna have to change my diet up now that I've had this colon issue?" And he said, "No, pepper's good for you. It's good for your intestines." He said, "There's a parasite or whatever, that's in the intestine, and, peppers help keep the walls of the intestines clean of this parasite." And he said, "No, they won't harm you." And I never quit eating them, and I'm still eating them, and I'm still alive. Yeah, I don't ever I rarely do I ever have any kind of a dinner at the Waffle House. I have eaten, but no, I usually go to Denny's if I'm gonna have a dinner or go to Cracker Barrel or one of those kind of places. But I've eaten a lot of truck stop food too, where they usually have like the iron skillet. Up in Minnesota and Wisconsin and all up through there, they have a chain of restaurants called Perkins, and they are just really, really good eating at Perkins. Well, one time I was up at, I think it was Oshkosh, Wisconsin. Now, at the area of Oshkosh, there's like three exits that goes into Oshkosh off the freeway. And so I'd pulled into one of those one of those places, and there was a Perkins restaurant. So after I got through eating, I had to make a notation in my logbook where my dinner hour took place. You draw a line down when you're on dinner line, go down, and you make a notation. There's a place that you write in on your logbook. And I did not know what the name of that, like if you're in Seattle, uh, you could take an exit. You might be in the town of Renton, or you might take another exit and you might be in Bellevue, Redmond, Kirkland. There's all kinds of suburbs to the city of Seattle. So wanted to know what the name of the place was I was at. So the girl was behind the counter and she was chewing gum. I said, "Ma'am, could you tell me where I'm at?" And she stuck her finger up like this, and behind her head was the name Perkins. She went, "Duh, duh, Perkins." And so when I started to step by, the guy said, "You're in Wallingford," or whatever the name of that little district was. I said, "Thank you, sir." And she thought an old man had wandered in there and did not know where he was at, and didn't know he was eating or whatever. She had to help him out. 16 years old, and she already knew everything there was to be known about life. Duh, Perkins, duh. One time, I was at a Perkins restaurant over there in Iowa, and, I sat down, and there was no, silverware, and there was a guy every bit as big as Paul Bunyan come over there wearing the big black and red plaid shirt, arms the size of manhole covers. He come over there, had that sleeve rolled up and great big old python arms on him, and he said, "I saw you didn't have any silverware," and he handed me a package of silverware. And the guy just looked over and seen that I didn't have it, and he had an extra on his table, and he came over. I went, "Now that is about as friendly as you can get right there." A lot of people said they wouldn't even have paid it any attention, but he looked across and saw I didn't have silverware and gave me a set of silverware. And that was my experience at that Perkins there in Iowa. I'd like to eat at Perkins. Sure, sure. At my age, I'm sure she thought I was all eat up with a dementia. I didn't not know what dimension I was in. Yeah, yeah, yeah. You're absolutely correct. That will work. But our HR said they were being audited and they wanted us to write on the logbook fuel stops and food stops and all that kind of stuff. And but you have to turn in your receipts because you get paid, or we did. We got paid for food and we got paid for various things. All your lodging was paid for by the company. And but um, yeah, that was. And now that with the e-logs, I guess everything is changed up. I mean, I wouldn't even know how to do an e-log now. I think the last time I drove was in 2006, maybe. It's been a while. Yeah, you got to match. Yeah, yeah. One time I had this lady driver. Uh, she went by the name of Miss Johnny. She was a Army nurse, retired out of the U.S. Army as a nurse. She worked night shift at the VA hospital, and then she wanted to change her life up, so she went to driving school, and they gave me her, so we started team driving from Alabama to California. We did 2 trips a week out there, and and some other little run around stuff. But one time we were sitting there in the day room at the truck stop at the office, and the PA come on and told us to come up to HR, me and Miss Johnny. So we go up there, and she said, "Looks like you was in the sleeper in Picayune, Mississippi. You went into the sleeper at Picayune, Mississippi." I said, "Yep, that's right." She said, "Well, I want you to explain to me how you was in the sleeper at Picayune, and so was Miss Johnny." Miss Johnny was sitting over there. See what happened, I used to do a double shift because she liked night shift. She liked to run at night, and I would do a double. I would do 2 5s in the daytime, and she liked to do the night thing because she spent all of her life as a working adult at night shift. And so I did a lot of doubling up shifts like that, and you had to really work to make sure your logbook. I was the senior driver, and she was the co-driver, so but our books have to be matching. And we stopped in Picayune, Mississippi, just as we came up out of Louisiana. You cross over the border there at Picayune. And, we stopped there and had dinner, and then I went into the sleeper, and she was to drive us in from Picayune back into Birmingham, and but we were both in the sleeper. So she said, "I'm gonna give you a second for y'all to review your book here." And then, of course, on the back of your book, you got a recap and all that kind of stuff. And we had to go through and change all that. We were just off a little bit. After that, we learned how to keep our story straight. And the main thing is, it had to look good on paper at HR, because when they get audited, then it can cost them a lot of money, to sort out the little things that shows up in your logbook. I one time I was out of time in Houston, Texas. So I saw this place. It was one of them Western style motels, one of them no-tell motel. So I pulled in there, and all I needed to to get off the road to get my logbook caught up, and I wanted to take a shower and all that stuff and have a good dinner there in that little town. And we, uh, they had a huge fight. It was, I mean, a knockdown brawl and all that kind of stuff. And the the motel was something like $35. And I turned it in, the receipt and everything, and she said, "Hey, can you explain this $35 motel fee?" I said, "Yeah, that's what it costs." And then she got on to me because they did not want us to be, off the beaten path. They wanted to stay at Comfort Inn or one of those places, because of the danger of being at those places. Your truck can get robbed or steal the wheels off of it, steal your straps and chains and all that stuff, and she almost blowed a gasket. I went down to Miami. I took a load of supplies to go to Haiti, and so when I got down to Miami, um, I had to go to the Haitian, embassy in Miami, and so I go over there, and they told me, they said, uh you have to actually rent a room here for you to be able to park your rig. I said, "Well, I'm delivering to you, to the Haitian people. I've got a load of supplies going to Haiti." And he said, "You still got to rent a room." I thought, "Oh my God, downtown Miami, the embassy building was like 27 stories high." And I said, "What is that going to cost?" And he talked a little bit in his language, and finally it ended up being like $27 to stay in Miami, and that is locking my truck inside of a secured compound. So I took the old MasterCard and put it on the company card and went up there at about the 17th floor, and I could look down and see my truck down there in the compound impound area. And I spent the night there in the Haitian embassy in Miami, and then when I turned in all my receipts, they called me up there and they go, "There ain't no damn way in the world you can convince me you stayed for $29." I said, "Well, you see it right there. You got the receipt." She said, "Don't ever do that again." I mean, she said, I said, my truck, the only way I could impound my truck so nobody would steal everything off it is by putting it in that barbed wire fence area. Anyhow, I had to go out to Little Haiti, and I drove out there and I met this minister. He was a bishop or a Catholic, a father, I guess. He had the little black robe on and all that stuff. And so he said, "Let me take you to breakfast." I said, "Okay." I'm thinking we're going to go to a really nice restaurant. He took me to McDonald's. When we got up there in Little Haiti at the McDonald's, there was 300 people in that place. It was packed out. See that what happened? There was a hurricane that killed 6,000 people in Haiti, and we were carrying emergency Red Cross supplies to the people of Haiti, and it was loading them on a ship there at Miami on a barge or whatever. And when we walked in the door, that place was just packed, and it was, all you could hear is everybody was just talking at one time, and soon as we walked in the door, me, a white boy, and a black minister, a father, a priest, I guess they call him. I don't know, but it was a priest. Yeah. When we walked in that door, the crowd, a hush came over the room. When he reached down in his pocket and he put his left hand in his pocket and he looked around and everybody got really quiet and they started scampering out of the side doors. There's only a few left when we got in there. And it got really quiet. And I was like, "Whoa, boy, this guy, they really worship this minister." So when we was eating, I said, "Well, you really got the power here, your religion is pretty strong." He said, "But I've got a stronger religion. To them, it's stronger than the cloth that I wear." And he reached in his pocket and he pulled out a handful of little bones in his hand. A padre, I guess, yeah, padre. He had a handful of bones, and he moved them around, and he rattled when he moved the bones around. When he rattled those bones in his pocket, that's what he did. They heard the bones are rattling, and they all fled immediately. He said, "The religion, Catholicism, and the dark side of witchcraft, well, there was a name for it." He said, "These people have followed voodoo for all of their lives, and they've accepted in the last 100 or 200 years Catholicism or this form of religion, but they still hold to their old ways, and the bones have the power." And he said, God works in mysterious ways. We bring the message through God, from God to them, but the bones has a tremendous amount of power. I went, "Oh my God, I'm sitting here with a guy that could turn me into a bullfrog." Uh, but it was a pleasant experience. It took us hours to get the cargo unloaded from my truck on to their rig to take it down. I wasn't allowed to go onto the port, but they were, and they they got me finally got everything off my truck. It was interesting to watch them when they were working, and they set up like a human chain, the packages as they was passing them on to the next person, and so on and so forth until they got them all off the truck. And there were medical supplies, all kinds of stuff in there. The Red Cross stuff. I think Hurricane Ivan, if you look it up, I believe it's Hurricane Ivan that killed so many people in Haiti, and we were down there carrying rescue supplies for the Haitian people. If you ever get a chance to visit Little Haiti, just north of Miami, um, just use caution. It's not the same as the way we do stuff. Um, it's not for everybody. I found it to be like an adventure. Hey, 2-4. Oh yeah, how to run dual logbooks, man. You got to have one under your mattress at all times. I was over asleep. I was at somewhere near Dallas. And next thing I know, there was a beating on the window, and I looked out, and I was surrounded by the law. Oh, my whole truck was completely surrounded by the law. So I get up, and they told me to come out, hands up, and all that stuff. I come out of the truck with my hands up, and they took me up there by the fender, and they pushed me against the fender, and they went into my truck on both sides, and they were all. I looked up there, and there was just a swarm of them inside my truck. I go, they must be thinking I was a drug runner or something. I'd pull over this little alleyway and place I could get my rig off the road so I could wait it out till I could get unloaded in that little town. Yeah, get out of the truck, long hair. Well, yeah, and then the guy tells me, he said, we had 3 people to escape, 3 or 4, and they went into a gun store there in Texas and robbed it and took all those guns and ammunition, and they was on a manhunt, and they was searching every truck thinking it may be possibility that he might be hitching a ride, and it might have been held as a hostage. because these were dangerous criminals. And I went, oh, it was hard to get back to sleep after that. I've slept in some really strange places like Baltimore, down at the piers in Baltimore. I've slept in Miami, Florida, um, Pensacola, right alongside the beach. I love that. You know, with the big rig, I was going to deliver. One time I spent the night up at Bristol, Tennessee, Bristol, Virginia, but I was delivering into Bristol, Tennessee, which is they're they're adjacent to each other. But I stayed at a truck stop in Bristol, Virginia, and got up next morning and rolled in, and I unloaded, had them to unload my truck right across from the Bristol racetrack, Bristol, Tennessee. How's everything in 2-4 land? Snow's all gone. Well, that's good. It's warming up. Well, it was 70, when we was up in Coleman yesterday, it was 77 degrees. It was like 79 degrees right around the edge because there's we big rain, you know, that storm that came in, it killed a lot of people down here from Mississippi and all down through the Missouri, and all, you know, a lot of people was killed. So we had a lot of moisture in the ground, and when it got up to 79, you could feel a little bit of humidity. That was yesterday. I don't know right now. Let me see what the temperature is right now. Oh, here we go. 54 degrees here in my neck of the woods. Oh, going to Las Vegas Sunday. Are you flying out or are you trailering out? Ah, good. That's, well, I hope you have a safe flight. Oh, 43 in North Carolina. Well, we're not much warmer than you are. Are you going to go to the what is that place there where the dead? What do they call that thing? The spear, the spear. Uh, you going to go do some concerting? You going to go down there and do a little boogie woogie, boogie woogie? Uh oh, looks like my video is moving around a little bit. I don't know what that's about. I had a hard time getting on the air this morning at 2-4. I did not have any. Now it looks like I've still got a signal. It wouldn't let me on. It said live is not available at this time. I went, oh my! You see the logo on the earpiece there, 2-4. That's for the Frogzilla. Well, there it is, ladies and gentlemen. There goes the train. That's how I get my email. You got mail. No, I guess you got to do it like this right here.
You got mail.
Little choo choo train. Oh, when we was kids, we had a train track right there. Um, it was right there, right below our house, and he was when he was coming up, pulling up out of the town. You could look over, and when he was coming up through there, he was putting a lot of coal into the burner, and man, there'd be fire and sparks and stuff coming up out of the old steam train. And if my mother was doing a wash, we'd have to go and grab all the sheets off the lines and put them, you know, put them in a basket. Wait till the trains finally steamed up on out of the way. When we know he was gone, then we'd put the clothes back on the line, let him finish. I don't think we're going to get very warm today compared to yesterday. That we do have some more pretty weather coming. This is Wednesday. Yeah, we got more pretty weather. We go through this roller coaster ride into spring. Spring ain't that far away. We're only a few days out from spring, so that'd be nice. Well, I think it's after 7, and it means it's after 8 over there on the East Coast. So let me go ahead and say good morning all around. And has been a pleasure having you folks to come and join Old Mac this morning. We didn't have a big turnout, but it was really quality people, those that showed up. I got to talk with my friend JR. He's a guy that I've been knowing for many years. He's a ham radio operator, and he's got a little mileage on him as well. Nowhere near as much as me, but he's a nevertheless a friend that we had a lot in common. We're going to go do lunch one of these days. Get together before our time runs out. He's had some heart issues, and me, I'm just old. I could just croak out any time. We're not going to think about it. Well, God bless you, and thank you very much for visiting me and helping me to keep in contact with my sanity. Bye bye.